Welcome to another Quantum Conversation. I'm Rayne, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Beautiful hearts, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm certain that you can already feel the frequencies and the energies from my next guest today. He is a channel. Welcome, beloved hearts. We are so pleased to be here in another quantum conversation. Today we are exploring heart consciousness and quantum field, that way that we create our reality with our feelings and our heart. My guest today is an intuitive channel, Brooklin Rayne, and we're so excited to learn her story and to receive messages of wisdom. Hi, Brooklin. Thank you for being here.
Hi, thank you. I'm excited to be joining in this way. And it feels like a beautiful time to celebrate the heart and all the openings that are potentialized right now. Yeah.
So let's go straight to some juicy stuff. This year so far has been pretty intense. When you tune into the collective and what is happening right now on our planet, what do you think the most important thing is that we should be focusing on?
Wow. What a good question. All of a sudden, when you said that, I felt like a vacuum, and the vacuum brought us right into engagement, right, with the invitation of the 0 point within. And I would say, because of all of these massive systems that are currently engaged and continuing to engage more and more and more, and the nature of 2025 as we've experienced it thus far, right? It's like, I mean, it has been building through the last several linear years like this, but literally this year is like, one portal and vortex of massive transformation after the next, after the next, after the next, with really like seemingly, if you look at it sort of in a grid format, there's really no, as I've witnessed it in previous years, there's not like this sort of bridge and sort of downtime, if you will, in between and one system to the next. It's like portals stacking on portals, stacking on portals, stacking on portals. And so, there's so many pearls of wisdom and ways in which, each of us, I know, on the daily are being guided to navigate it. But really, the one thing that just keeps coming front and center is, building upon all the ways in which we've attuned ourselves to staying within the present moment, right? Finding our way as the 0 point, opening, ourselves to greater and greater depths of and as the witnessing presence. And that's always been, guided and recommended and invited, but it feels like it's really almost to a point where it's like the only way the only way to really be able to find our own unique system of harmony and balance within this rapidly changing landscape of reality. Yeah.
Yeah, it is really, I love that 0 point, because as it gets really hectic, I mean, even seasoned light workers on the path are finding the transformation. It can knock us off kilter, actually. And so
Mm-hmm.
the 0 point, I feel that the 0 point is almost, it's 0 point. But why do I want to say it's a frequency upgrade? It's almost like we are upgrading, like, your work is with alchemy. This is almost like we are alchemizing the junk that's coming up. And when I say junk, maybe it's thoughts and feelings that are keeping us entrained in the old programs and the old structures, that when we're getting rattled, the only thing that we can do is return to this 0 point, as you called it. So
Mm-hmm.
wow, I mean, what do you have to say about the ease and grace that will come from this. Do we get stronger or do we get better at this as we go along? Because sometimes, we've been like for years, we've been seeing things speed up, but when we get so far knocked off kilter, like some are saying, wow, why do we even want to continue? Some are even saying, did we get on the wrong timeline of Earth? What do you think about it? I mean, is it that crazy, or is it just a huge reminder to come to 0 point?
Yeah. Well, I love that you mentioned that because today, as I was tapping into this particular week, seems to carry with it a very uh, epic energy of just like you're saying, like, just as we sort of kind of came into somewhat of a feeling or an illusionary feeling of a hum within the harmonics of the tail end of April. And it seemed like, oh, okay, maybe there is a little bit of a field of stabilization being offered here, and it was appropriate, but, moment, season, lifetime, it was a second, right? And now this week we come in and I haven't even, it's funny, I've just released any attachment to even connecting into at this point, unless guided specifically, that, astrological alignments and everything, because I feel even the blueprint of what we've known as astrology is rapidly repositioning and changing and so forth. So when you're saying that there are those people, seasoned light workers and, star seeds and all these different beings that, are coming into questioning, like, wait a second, like, did I take a wrong turn, on my, has humanity gotten off track? It is absolutely a time where there's so many timelines and reorganization and things taking place to direct and open us to the highest expansion and potential of what is offered through this, ascension blueprint right now, that it can easily appear at any given point in time that there's a wobble, or that we've wobbled a little too far. So when I was meditating on that, and really trying to embrace the divine comedy that all of this is, right? It's like, okay, let's find the humor in this. Let's find the joy in this. This is where we can find greater access and kind of come back to the 0 point, right? Because true joy, as we know, can only really truly be expressed through the heart. And that's where we can find our 0 point, right? So I was tapping into it. I was like, whoa, this is a whopper. Like, I woke up in a whopper today and I was like, like, whoa. So I was doing my practices and, and grounding and honing into and as the 0 point. And I heard golden key, trust, right? And we always know this, and we've known this, and we hear it in so many different ways, shapes and sizes. And, never before have we been invited and really encouraged, I feel like, to come into that, go deep into the cellular knowing, of our trust. Like, when everything out here, which then ripples in and is a reflection of what's in here, obviously we know, right? But when everything seems like it's just, we've got to trust even more, and it's like finding that trust within a system that's like, wow, this is like creating a whole new level of mastery of trusting, right? Because the unknown within this quickly changing landscape and lifescape is, I feel like, heightened at this point. So really we can trust, and in doing so, which of course we know trust is found within as well, right? Another big pillar of homecoming. Or we can choose to distrust, and both of them are purposeful and advantageous, and and we expand through both, right? However, with the nervous system, and all the solar plasma frequencies and everything coming in, that's really like giving us the cellular and solar shakedown right now. finding finding that trust and finding that 0 point really helps for us to remain in that place of witnessing presence. Okay, it's happening to me. I chose to participate in it. I'm experiencing it right now. Let me come here so I can expand, right? Because there's so many definitions of the 0 point, and one might find extra comfort in one of the layers of its identity, if you will, right? As the access to the everything and the no thing. And when we can access that, we can, oh, wait, that's right. I'm the everything and the no thing. Let me create the space within my bodies right now and help them remember, right, I am the everything, the no thing. I'm not just these things that are taking place right now. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That is an activation. Your words right here were an activation for us. They are an activation because, wow, okay, this is extremely helpful. And it brings us to your latest work with the resurrection codes and what's happening here, because it really feels like when we come home to this, when we actually look around and we can see the frustrations are coming because we're clinging to something in the old, or we have old programming that is being rewired into patterns of love and trust. That trust is so huge. And so I absolutely love that you, as a seasoned light worker, way shower, can wake up in a whopper, right? Because it shows that in our sleep time, what's going on if we're waking up in a whopper or we're waking up with anxiety? You're using the tools that you teach, the tools that you share with everyone, and the breath to be very present, right? So that we know we can go to those tools. So in a part of me wants to say, this is an initiation into that blueprint that we are. So how did the resurrection codes that you've recently brought forth in the past few years work to assist us on this level? And how can we understand what they are so we can embrace them in our own life?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I believe it was back in March of 2022, if I'm not mistaken, during the spring equinox. I was in a meditation, and albeit I don't remember exactly what the intention within the meditation initially began as, I received this significant transmission from the Christos collective, or Christ collective. And it came through, and it was one of those transmissions where it's like, whoa, I'm going to be here for a while. Let me get comfortable. Let me just sit back and surrender and receive. And so this whole big system began to flow in, and it was revealing itself as the 33 Christos archetypes, the 33 pillars that hold throughout all systems of creation, what we have come to know as Christ consciousness, and what has also been referred to within this download and continued downloads, if you will, the unified field of creation, this radiant network or fabric, or maybe one might see it who interprets the quantum field as like a golden grid that is woven through every system of creation to have ever been created, in an effort to keep a sense of connectedness to that which is threaded through unity, right? The one, the oneness within all, the return, right? Even if we choose a blueprint that we're going on a path of creation anew as a unique individuation of source, we think, we desire, I want to feel and create through systems that take me the furthest point away from my, connection with unity. There's always a way to return back, and to thread back into the full connection as that, right? As that being a part of the fabric of all sparks of creation, if you will. So this whole download came through, and these 33 pillars that are, albeit uniquely threaded through all systems of creation to have ever been created, we know them, as just perhaps, some of the infinitely faceted expressions of them here. And some of these archetypes are love and compassion, grace, ecstasy, alchemy, joy, omniscience, and. So this was all coming through, in this download, and it became clear. I was being shown part of my purpose of incarnation here is to be, likely, I imagine, one of the many conduits of this particular codex and remembrance, because really, and I'll sort of nourish this explanation with that which we've heard through so many, perhaps in so many ways, through organized religion, and different ways in which Christ consciousness has sort of been narrowed in its scope and maybe a little bit, we'll just say, manipulated to present itself as more of a narrowed scope system of participation within the template of humanity and Gaia, right? And we've heard through some of the books and texts and so forth that this time that we are in right now has been prophetized as the second coming of Christ consciousness, and that within that, many believe that that is one particular being who is going to come, right? Who is the Savior, when in actuality, having, many of us having incarnated through many, 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 many incarnations within different lineages of the Christos consciousness and the way it's expressed, we know that we've come in and we've been building and supporting the foundation and the building blocks and the fortification and igniting of this golden grid, how it uniquely expresses within Gaia and the human template. And so the second coming of Christ consciousness, and what has become known as Christos consciousness, which is, from my vantage point, synonymous, if you will, with Christ consciousness, is the second coming within the potential of every incarnate here, and also within the ascension template of Gaia herself and all beings within and throughout. So the second coming of Christ consciousness, if you will, is what is potentialized through all the different planetary, galactic, multigalactic, multiversal alignments, solar alignments, etc., that are in way of participation right now, that shine particular frequencies and plasma frequencies and igniting the highest potential of this template of ascension or enlightenment, if you will, of unity, igniting this grid, this golden grid within each one of us uniquely and within Gaia herself. So with this, over these last few linear years, has come into participation a particular codex called the Resurrection Codes. There are 117 codes, and the codes translate within participation here a mudra, mantra, breath, and movement. So it can be likened to a yogic system in many ways. And many of the yogic systems, from my vantage point, are part of the many lineages of this unified field of consciousness known as Christ consciousness, right? That's been woven through Buddhism and Hinduism and, the organic lineages and many of those who have incarnated previously as Essenes and Cathars and, within the Egyptian times and Atlantean times and Lemurian times and we have practiced this codex in these times. And now we're bringing it back into and through in this now time within the context of translatable languaging, if you will, to meet us uniquely in this now time of creation. So these codes are essentially activating through breath, mudra, mantra, and movement, activating and opening pathways of our crystalline DNA and our Christos template, our rainbow diamond body within. So it's one of the many systems that we have access to that can help us to, uniquely reach our blueprint of enlightenment, if you will, during this time.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing on that. And so the work for us to do, if we wish to elevate in that way, is simply to come within, or what? What do we do then to receive that, to actually do that work, is to meditate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to do all this and to activate our DNA, our junk DNA. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're doing it. Would you say that we're doing it whether or not we're aware of it? And so to be even more aware of it is more of a catalyst in that. So your work is waking up humanity, or working with those who are ready for this. What would you say for the beginner, someone who is newly waking up on this?
Yeah,
Yeah, what would you say?
I would say thank you for your courage. Thank you for your courage and your decision to begin to newly awaken during what I've perceived from my incarnation thus far, the most epic and possibly intense system that we've, experienced thus far. So yes, I would say, there's so many different ways. There's so many beautiful systems of spirituality and ascension guides and beings and philosophies that, that are here, that have been here, for millennia, right? For thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And we can access them through, ancient texts, translated into modern times. We can also play around and have fun with accessing them from within our own cellular, memory, and remembrance, right? Yeah, there's just so much in way of resource here at this particular point in time. There's so many beautiful beings and ascension guides and that have come forth, and so I would say just have fun exploring, right? All the different, things that are out there, all the tools, all the methods, all the systems, and then bring them into our 0 point, bring them into our heart, feel into it. Does this feel like, a system for me in this now moment, right? And feel into and start to build your trust muscle, right? Your inner navigational tool of like, this feels like a yes, this feels like a no, this feels like a maybe, and then a lot of times, even when we're doing that and we're tapping into it, we might be like, okay, got the answer. It's a yes. When we're in it and we're in it for just, a little bit, and we're like, now I'm not feeling the same level of charge from this. So what I would say to that is go back to the 0 point. Okay. It is still, I like to say it in a declarative statement. It is in the highest and best interest of all that is, in accordance to the highest divine law and order, for me to participate in for my highest enlightenment, here and now. And it may be a no. So really perhaps adopting that sort of non-attachment and malleability to say, okay, moment, season, lifetime, second, moment, season, maybe even at this point of rapid evolution that's taking place. And, and realize sometimes we're just meant to go into something, download the program, upload and inload our own remembrance, right? Wait a second. I was just meant to remember. It already exists here. Okay. And then other things we engage in for longer periods of time, and they might thread, that system or systems or philosophy may thread throughout the entire incarnation, right? But there's so much assistance here right now. As much as it feels like you're on an island and your paddle just, broke in half and you're like, guys, that's illusionary, right? There's so much. And just like you're saying, go into meditation, call in if it feels in resonance, this radiant, unified field of creation, this Christ consciousness, this pure source light, and knowing that when we're calling it in, we're really calling it out, right? Because it's already existing within us. It's just that a lot of times the mind's like, wait a second, I got to call it in. But really, what's happening is we're engaging with it and it's igniting what already exists within us, right?
Oh my goodness, that feels so good. I really do love that. It's already within us. Take great comfort in that. Okay. Again, your words are an activation for all of us. And I would love if you could take a moment and lead us into a meditation for the need of the hour. Can we do something like that to empower?
Yes, absolutely. You would like me to go ahead and guide us through that?
Thank you. That would be beautiful. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, of course. Okay. So inviting everybody to take a moment and close their eyes perhaps. And take a few nice, nourishing inhales. Inhaling through the nose, filling the lower belly, filling the rib cage, the heart center. Pausing for just a second at the top, and then exhaling out of the mouth and letting it all go. Again, inhaling through the nose, filling the belly, the front of the belly, the side of the belly, the back of the belly, the front of our hearts, the side of our hearts, the back of our hearts, filling our cup with the breath of life. And pausing for a moment at the top of the inhale, and then letting it all go, exhaling out through the mouth. And one more, inviting the breath in through the nose, filling the belly, the heart. Pausing for a moment, and then exhaling everything out, letting go of all fight or flight, letting go of all worries, all concerns. Now bringing our breath into whatever flow of breath feels most nourishing and supportive. And as we do so, dropping even deeper into our heart center, that 0 point. As we drop into our hearts and we've softened our physical bodies through the breath, we begin to allow ourselves to attune, perhaps, to the intention of immaculate, clear remembrance. I am immaculate, clear remembrance. I am immaculate, clear remembrance. Allowing ourselves to simply be within the radiant golden light that now flows down and through our central channel. The unified field of pure one flowing deep down and into our cells, down and through our central channel, above, below, side to side, and all around. We feel the nourishment of this golden light, opening pathways and gateways within our physical, mental, emotional, and spirit bodies, bringing forth the light of clear remembrance, giving our nervous system an opportunity to come out of fight or flight confusion, worry, to come out and to dissolve all programs of unknowing, so as to open the highest potential of remembrance within. Duet praria presun remiandra haunayan Presun rea puaparian reandrayanana Oria harweyandayan Uria prunaraya we undra una opening, releasing, allowing, as we now feel ourselves held within the golden radiance, brought into the central crystal earth star core, the micro of the macro, of the central sun of all creation, held within the center of Gaia, Mother Earth. We feel the radiant nourishment of her embrace as we are taken into the halls of immaculate clear remembrance. We witness and embrace that within each and every one of our hearts is the access to the halls of clear remembrance. And as we are held within the central crystal earth star's core, the radiance of the remembrance within our own crystalline potential begins to open and expand. We begin to allow all of our bodies to attune to the remembrance of who we are and why we're here. And as this grand igniting takes place, we soften into the dissolve of our mind and our ego's desire to participate. And we open and expand our heart, our eternal cosmic heart, the heart that holds the template of clear remembrance. We allow ourselves to explore, to get curious, to ask our heart, our eternal source self, who am I and why am I here? Quataria sundre papre sundrayanayan haruayana Andare preyandrayanayan Andaina Varia purya sundrayana Undaya Varia sutraya puandrayan Om Barasundrayana Om Brasarvenaina Kwasatre sundre viatrayasan Karo sundre blalawa sundraya prayanian Karo sundre paru atraya saruyani Kustu saruyandraya. Opening, allowing, surrendering, trusting. And within the pools of golden divinity that pour in and through and all around, we begin to once remember, I am. I am the golden divinity threaded throughout all systems of creation. I am one. I am the everything. I am the no thing. I am the unique individuation of pure source creation, celebrating in this moment the remembrance of who I am and why I'm here. I let go of all doubt. I am free. I let go of all old stories and identities that have kept me small. I am free. I let go of living in the past and the future. I am the present moment. I am free. Quatatra sarue andai undraharue andraya. O a parueni. O a arweni. O a arweni. I remember. I can come to the remembrance of this now moment within this radiant transmission of pure eternal source I am. I have all the answers within. I am the all-knowing. I am the all-trusting. And therefore, I am the all-remembering of who I am and why I'm here. I celebrate. I open with joy, grace, and gratitude. I allow my inner song of devotion to resurrect, to ignite, to sing its most beautiful song in each and every thought, word, action, and feeling that I, as the chooser of my choices and the creator of my reality, choose in each moment I am. Kutrapwaya sunraya andraya waina ina waina ina watra husunraya pepwa sunrayan kwaya praini andrayana naina usutraya pwaina naina naina. As I take a nice, deep, nourishing inhale through my nose, filling all of my bodies in gratitude, grace, and remembrance, and I exhale out and release all that is in the flow of alchemizing, shifting, opening, igniting. I open the gateways of resurrection, rebirth, remembrance, here and now, now and here. Feeling a radiant flow of emerald light, diamond emerald light now flowing down and through all of our bodies. The divine and immaculate nourishment, the heart light of Gaia, Mother Earth, flowing in and through, assisting us now in grounding back into our physical bodies, grounding back into the here and now, as we once again, perhaps placing a hand on our heart and bringing us back into the awareness of our physical bodies, our physical spaces. And we feel the radiance of diamond emerald light flowing down and through our feet, rooting us, grounding us, connecting us into deep connection, union with the earth and with all beings within and upon, in the flow of the unified field of one. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Taking our time and coming back as you feel guided and ready.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That is empowering because we are home. And again, as you said, it comes from within. We can feel how it is already there. So we bring it in, but it's there. And to me, that is resurrection. Thank you for helping us reconnect in that way, because we have shifted. I truly hope that many watching are feeling the empowerment, ready to share beautiful new ways and structures with our planet. Thank you, Brooklyn.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. This wisdom that you bring forward is really helpful for our planet. And you're doing incredible work. You do incredible activations and you work with private groups that really you assist on their acceleration, on their spiritualness as well. And we thank you for that. And we will be inviting you to New Earth One Network to teach with us. We'll talk about that offline, but we will, yeah, I'm really sensing that the work that you do is so heartfelt and important. So thank you. I just want to say thank you again because
Thank
you are
you.
doing your role and you're helping so many do their role. And I actually see that world of empowered people. So as we're watching so much shift, so much transformation, wow, no wonder this is an exciting time to be here. So we need to really keep our eyes on the change, embrace the change, right? Let that other stuff go, let all the worries go and embrace the change. You've given us some incredible tools in our conversation today that there's no, there should be no worry now. There should be no more fear. Really, fear is gone. Do you, like when you said you wake up in a Whopper, are you still feeling, do you still have instances of fear creeping in from time to time?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, just being in this incredible matrix of, and witnessing the duality, right? And the polarity that is built on the polar opposites, right? The fear spectrum, the love spectrum, if we want to simplify it, right? So, yes, absolutely. Each and every day, as I get my source flashlight out, right, and go into, okay, what unconscious, subconscious programmings, are existing within, my own hologram here. And, not to assume, but kind of to assume, right? It's not the love programs and frequencies that I'm looking to take the flashlight out to and come into deep, different relationship with, right? They're the programs that are built in duality and separation and fear. And so in that continual prayer that, weaves through every day, ask and you shall receive, right? It's a real thing. We're that powerful. We make the declaration, I choose to release all fear, separation, illusion, and suffering. And that's exactly what rises to the surface of our awareness that's been playing out, right? And as you've mentioned, previous lifetime, as we know, simultaneous, right, to this now moment, there's so many layers. There's so many layers to us, right? And we wouldn't have it any other way. So I love that you're saying, like, embrace it, embrace the change, and embrace everything that's coming about. Really, I mean, there's so many ways we can go about it, but really to be able to embody the greatest potential of what is accessible here in way of freedom and unity and and peace and whatever we want is in the embrace, right? It's if we're warring with it, if we're in any frequency of resistance or warring with it, it's this quantum mechanics of we create more of it. It creates staying power. So to simplify and answer, absolutely. This morning, I will say, and I'm really grateful, and it comes with, over a decade of daily showing up and, and really wanting to get transparent and know every fractal of myself, that I seldom have moments of like the feeling of anxiety per se.
Okay,
Like
good.
I'll be aware constantly as my highest self is getting louder and louder when I'm participating, out of a thread of fear, right? Versus participating out of a place of neutrality and awareness and just pure awareness. And so I have a lot of, opportunities each day to have a recognition of that. But today, when I say a whopper, I woke up and I recognized through my intention and what's, and how that's interfacing today's unique forecast, that I actually did have some light ripples of, that anxiousness of fear. And I thought, wow, like this is, a gift, one, because it's been so long since I've had that experience, and it's a gift to recognize, like, wow, there was a period of time where I was feeling this was my baseline frequency. And to have it come in and present itself, it was like, I was like, wow, good job, bodies, for coming and attuning to a new home frequency. But also, it was intense, and I was like, okay, what is this? How did I create this? What parts of me created this, and why? What, show me, right? Like, let me drop in, because if we're in it and identifying with it and building more fear around it, like, holy moly, like, what is it, then yeah, great, have that experience. But really, to be able to kind of come in and get all the juicy lessons and the whys, and to release it from the bodies, right, and work with it, is to find that 0 point. Be like, okay, wait, I can't alchemize something that I'm identifying as, right? I can't find pathways of dissolving this fear if I'm identifying and attuning all my bodies to it. So, I've dropped in and I'm like, okay, let me breathe through this. And then other things were showing up that were kind of, poking it and trying to see. And I was like, oh man, this is good. This is a nice little spiritual workout I'm going through today.
Yes. And so you got to the bottom of it. Did you
Yeah.
get to the bottom of it?
Yes.
And was it
Yes.
just, you don't have to give the details, but was it just just some of the old
Yeah.
ancestral, or?
For sure. I feel like, when we have an opportunity to feel something like that, like there's some low hanging fruits that are like the obvious prompts as to why it took place. But if we allow ourselves to become non-conclusive, like I call it stop, drop, breathe and expand, right? It's like, okay, let me, okay, I'm feeling it. It's here. Let me pause. Let me drop into my heart center. Let me take a big, nourishing breath. Let me come into identity as the witnessing presence, right?
Okay.
And now let me take the immediate sort of prompt, or what revealed itself as, maybe the primary cause. I'm going to take that. I'm going to accept that. I'm going to kind of look at that and sit with that. But also, let me not get conclusive. Let me remain inconclusive, because there's infinite facets. And so I love that you bring that up, because yeah, it was woven in ancestral programs. It was woven in collective template programs. I was like, whoa, okay. And so there are layers to it, right? And so I allow myself the space, and to answer, like, yes, I've moved through the majority of it, but I'm going to spend more time with it for sure. And even though I'm not feeling that vibration as I was so intensely this morning of like, whoa, it's like sort of anxiousness, and I know that there's more to learn from it, right? And there's more to experience, and there's more parts of me that can come home, and maybe more entanglements that can be dissolved. So yeah, and I will say, and I'm an open book, and fully, you can ask me anything. It had to do with, I have 3 children, and it had to do with one of my sons, and a system that he's moving through right now, and and this moment of feeling like in the hearing what's going on, and I was like helplessness met the limitations of the space-time continuum, met this, and it was like, so it was a good one. It was juicy.
Well, thank you for sharing again, because as you described those feelings and that situation that you went through, we're having these as well in our own unique ways. And so to see that, wow, I love that. Stop, drop, breathe, and expand. That's worthy of a sticky note for all of us, because that is really the tool. So oftentimes we'll just cling to that and so really very, very powerful and beneficial. Your words are an activation. So we have the incredible tools now, absolutely incredible tools to navigate our way and to be that loving heart that we are, to always remember that heart. So I do think that we are getting stronger at flexing that heart-based muscle more and more, at recognizing when we are in the ego, when the ego is crying out for things. And so if it gets rough at any time for any of us, just remembering these tools is really important. Yes, thank you for that. So I have a question about your guides
Sure.
and how you awaken to your guides. This will be our final question. And so you said I could ask you anything. And so
Yeah,
one of the
please.
big things is we're sensing this galactic connection like never before. Like it's really apparent. And in a way, we can say disclosure is here. It's within our own hearts. And people are beginning to have experiences of meeting high level guides, or even seeing ships, seeing cloud ships. What is your story like with your guides? Have you had an encounter? Have you been in meditation and witnessed your guides? Share that with us, please.
Yeah, that's a great question. So when about 10, 12 years ago, when I had my surrender point, and I literally threw my hands up in the air and I said, Source, God, universe, I surrender. I surrender. I don't, what do I need to do? Show me, tell me, what do I need to do to come into a place of inner peace? And I heard an audible voice say, it's time to meditate. And I thought, oh, what? Like this is there's like an audio version of God, speaking out loud. So, that was my first sort of big engagement, like sort of visceral engagement, if you will, with and I come into greater awareness that that was an audible sort of spark of highest self coming in, right, and answering. Well, then so I start to meditate, and I'll kind of fast forward through this because it's over the course of so many years, but I start to meditate, I have epic monkey mind chatter, I get 3 months into a meditation doing the same thing every day, breathing in peace, releasing that which no longer serves. And I don't hear my timer go off at 15 minutes. I end up going into hours of meditation and completely dissolved into this pure system of just pure creation, pure source, pure God, however one wants to describe it. It did, there was a strong presence of Christ consciousness, but the everything and the no thing, and it was light. Everything was light. I had no sense of physicality or the physical room, anything, and it was, tears and just a complete showering of and knowing, right? Just a complete knowing that we are pure source creation. And then, I synchronistically, serendipitously, however you want to say it, come into connection with someone a few weeks later, and they introduced breath work. And I thought, oh, isn't that just like meditation? They were, no, yeah. And then I started doing that. And about 8, so many profound things took place with that. And 8 months into it, again, this system of pure like source creation, plasma light comes in, and it's like, and I was in a bliss state for days afterwards. It was just pure love, pure creation, pure unity. I don't, we can put so many words to it, but really it's undescribable. So these experiences took place, and absolutely, were igniting. And I grew up in Catholic, and I didn't know anything about spirituality beyond that. And I sort of always kind of knew through growing up, like, I kind of believe some of it. It's not really, landing for me, type of thing. So I was like very new, like to all of it, right? And so I had this unquenchable thirst, and I was reading all these things. But really, the guiding light from the very beginning, like I always had a deep resonance with Christ consciousness, with Christos, with the unified consciousness, and with, Divine Mother, and and all these different avatars that we have come to know and love and connect with within the collective consciousness of it. So I would have lots of meditative experiences where they come as a collective, or they may show themselves like individually, so that I would have a greater understanding, of what energetic I was, attuning to. And so this really continued, and I had, I don't want to tell me when to pause, because there's so many stories, but I had this profound experience with Saint Germain, and in the bookstore, and this book I was guided to pick up, and my necklace started swinging around, and I was like looking around, I'm like, what in the wild world of spirituality is taking place right now? And so I like brought the necklace. I didn't know about pendulums at the time and that kind of thing, so I was just like, what in the world? And then I opened the book, and everything was purple light, and like there was purple light coming, and I thought, and I looked around, and I was like, oh, and I closed the book. I'm like, I guess this is the book I'm supposed to have, and there's more to that story. So then I went home, and I was a week later, and I was sharing it with a friend, and the whole room turned into a golden hologram. My hair was purple, and there was this whole experience that took place. So lots of contact, and like really physically visceral, tangible contact with Christ's consciousness, with the Christos consciousness. And then, as things continue to evolve and expand, there were lots of different, and my trust muscle was, building and expanding. There were, I have a spacecraft come around a palm tree, and, and I was like, whoa, okay, wait a second. Like, I never thought that this didn't exist, but it hadn't been a part of my experience with ascension at that point. And I never found myself, super like curious about it. And so I was like, oh my, like, what? This is like an actual thing. And so then and there's a lot of stories around, and sometime I will share more around that story with you, and you can decide if you want me to share it with everybody else. But, so then I was like, and so then, lots of different books started showing up, and with, the 12th dimensional Palladians, and this and that, and all these sort of multi-dimensional, multiversal collectives kind of streaming through. And I thought, whoa. And then different levels of consciousness would come through, and this kind of thing. And then I want to say shortly after, I don't know exactly, who knows, and we know time is dissolving, but sometime within the last 4 or 5 linear years, through declaration and daily practices and breathing and, intentions and there was this big kind of boom feeling that came through, and it was like, connect directly to your oversoul and your highest self. That's your direct connection with source. Yes, you've been and incarnated through infinite systems of creation within our universal system, within Gaia, and all those things will come through. Just go directly to your connection with the source, so that you can remain in the clearest connection with your blueprint, and it doesn't get confused and maybe puppeteered, if you will, with, intentions that are not necessarily malevolent, or, but intentions that aren't directly attuned to your specific purpose and blueprint here. So, and so through that, I recognized, okay, I have a direct blueprint. Yes, with what would be considered like, the source of all creation, and really palpably and presently with the Christ collective, with the Christos collective within that. So for me, albeit there may be some multi-galactic, consciousness that will stream through in a session with somebody, ultimately what took place and has taken place in the evolution of that experience I just shared is that I'm meant to connect with each individuation's highest self and their blueprint and the highest potential of their blueprint in direct connection with their connection of source. And if it's, appropriate and we're guided to, then we may get some specific guidance or information from, a particular collective. But for the most part, it's connecting directly with their oversoul and their highest self.
Wow. Okay, beautiful. As you were sharing and you said you felt that boom. Did you call it boom?
Yeah, I think so.
It's almost like embodiment, or that direct connection. Just bam, just nothing else. No more distractions. Don't be distracted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't be enamored by, whoa, I'm seeing Saint Germain or Dwal Cool, right? But it's the
Mm-hmm.
direct connection that you shared. And all of us, our higher self. So you're doing incredible work. Thank you for assisting humanity in anchoring, connecting, bringing forward, embodying the higher self. We've said for years that that is the single most important thing, is our connection to our higher self. That is the gateway. And so that is your mission. I really, truly, fully see you incarnated on purpose. And that's what makes you a great way shower for everyone. You're indicative of what we are all going to experience. Others have experienced it or are experiencing it now, but your journey is our journey, everyone's journey. Isn't that beautiful? When you look at the world, what world do you see as everyone is living in that authentic way?
Yeah, just there. I just got full body chills. I don't even know that there's a word to describe it, but it comes in these waves of felt sense that the true and the highest essence of joy and love is to witness every single mirrored reflection of yourself, which is the totality of humanity, finding their access, right? Finding their access to whatever is their chosen highest potential, and within those harmonics. And it's like this giant celebration where it's like when the cast comes out after the play, all of
Yeah.
humanity takes a bow, right? And is like, okay, and then we all sort of, are cheering as we are our eternal selves beyond the illusion, right? Beyond the duality. So, yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We are uplifted. I'm uplifted. I just love this conversation and the way it makes me feel. All of it was an activation. It really was. So we are grateful for you. We're grateful for everyone watching and listening, because this frequency that we are now holding absolutely changes our world. It really does. So pay attention, anchor back into this always. We have the tools to connect us to our blueprint. Brooklyn is here as a wonderful teacher to assist you. So we are so grateful for everyone on their journey, their curiosity, and applying the wisdom from within. We are here with Brooklyn Rayne talking about an empowering Mastery Empowerment Course series coming soon. Hi, Brooklyn. Tell us about this beautiful course.
Yes, exciting. We are entering into a very palpable and exciting system of energy through this coming summer solstice in June. And with that has revealed itself an activation of a crystalline technology that exists within each of our potential, which is the Christos golden heart of compassion. It's a divine technology that's part of our ascension blueprint, if you will, our rainbow body, our diamond rainbow body. And so with the unique alignments of the central sun and the earth's grid and the shifting of out of spring and into the summer, and some very unique and palpable positioning of Sirius within relationship to the galactic center and our sun, this really radiant and beautiful system of golden plasma, the golden plasma of unified compassion, flows through and precipitates into our experience here, further igniting within each one of us uniquely this crystalline technology of the golden heart of Christos compassion. So we are going to have an opportunity to connect and receive a series of crystalline DNA activations and heart opening and receive different systems of meditations and ways to participate to further cultivate our own unique experience with this technology within.
Sounds really wonderful and filled with light. Who is this good for?
Well, I would say this is good for all of us, right? All of humanity has the potential within their divine, their most exalted divine template to activate this compassion, right? This compassion beyond all linear comprehension. And with the compassion, we dissolve so many systems of identity with separation and warring and seeing ourselves as separate of one another, and really expands us into our capacity to love more, to find deeper depths of peace and gratitude and all the pillars of the unified field of creation, right? So I would say everybody. And really truly though, from in terms of a spiritual path maybe, and where one is on a spiritual path, it would be for people that are just stepping into their spiritual awakening, and those of us who've been on it for many years and lifetimes.
A beautiful opportunity to really anchor in the light codes of this magnificent year at this powerful gateway. Thank you so much for offering it. We're really excited to see everyone there. If this resonates with your heart, tickles your heart at all, then you know this is for you, and we're excited to see you. You can find out more on this link that you're on right here, right now. Brooklyn, as we say goodbye, I just want to give you moments for final thoughts.
Yeah, just feeling so much gratitude, and I want to take a moment to celebrate how beautiful you are and how your energetic really assisted in such clarity and groundedness of the messages that we're desiring to come forth and through, in participation of the questions and in participation of all the highest selves of those who are watching and witnessing this. And there is just a joyous celebration. So yeah, just wishing everybody a continued journey of peace and love and joy, and whatever it is that you most desire to experience through this this wild rodeo of ascension that we're experiencing right now.
Wild rodeo of ascension. Yay. For some, it's not our first rodeo either. So, all right. Thank you. I love this, and I am elated, and I hope everyone is feeling immense joy from this. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Brooklyn Rayne, and thank you everyone for watching. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. I'm Rayne, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.